Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Last week, we picked up a couple of these little Husqvarna weed eaters, and on the first one, we went ahead and rebuilt the carb and put in new gaskets and new metering diaphragm, and she came out really good. It worked really nice. So I'm going to show you the easy way this time. We're going to go ahead and replace the carburetor and be done with it. This is a nice, quick job, and if you're doing yours at home, this will save you the aggravation of figuring out what diaphragm to use. You can just take the carb off, put it in front of your computer, and compare it to the ones you're looking at online. Or take the carburetor to your local engine store and tell them you need one of these. So let's get started on this one.
Ready to go.
Okay. Now I don't know what to expect out of this one, but I do know that we put a new coil on it, so that should be taken care of. And I expect good things out of it. These usually come out really good. Now we're using a 5/16 to take the airbox off. And here we go. On the Husqvarna, make sure you do that first, because if you try to do it this way, it'll hang you up. And this is it. We'll take a look at the fuel lines. Fuel lines don't look terrible on this one. Let's pull her out. You got this little backing plate. You got this little guide here. So you want to make sure you pull it around the guide when you're pulling it out. And fuel lines are still holding this. So you got the cap loose. Even if you're almost out of gas, loosen the cap. The gas will feed back through your fuel lines. Okay, let's get our fuel lines to let go. We're hoping we can save these, so we're using the cutters, but we're using them gingerly. And use care not to squish these pipes, but it doesn't really matter if you're replacing the carb anyway. Okay, we're almost there. That should come right off now. There we go. And there we are. And you can see our little guide comes out of its little track really easy on these. And that's it for the carburetor. Let's take a look at the fuel lines and the fuel filter inside. They feel like they've got a little bit of bounce to them here, but that doesn't mean that they're any good. Okay, looking inside here, I can see there's no fuel filter attached on this one. So we're going to go ahead and pull it off and put new lines on it real quick. There's one. Let's push the other one down inside. And be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to tear the little holes up. If you tear up the holes that the fuel lines go through, then you're going to need to replace the gas tank or run oversized fuel lines, neither of which is a fun choice. Okay, now I say quite often that you want to empty the gas tank before you start anything, and this is a prime reason why. We can do this. You see that fuel filter just broke off over time. So no problem. Let's put some new lines on it. Now the carburetor we ordered came with fuel line, so that'll make it a little bit easier. Let me turn you down just a little bit. There you go. Looks like we still had a little touch of a fuel line, so let's get that out of there. There we go. Now we're empty. You can get this wire tool either with the carburetor when you buy a carburetor, or if you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, you can buy a fuel line kit, or Ace Hardware also. You can buy a fuel line kit that includes fuel lines, and that's helpful. So we're going to take our new carburetor, make sure the fuel line fits snug everywhere, and it does, and it does. Fantastic. This is the perfect fuel line for this one. We've tapered the end. Now let's pull her through real quick. There you go. And it broke, but you can see the end sticking out. Now, it doesn't matter which one's which when you're doing this. Just consider, put the carburetor in place, imagine it here, and think about, whoops, I'm sorry. Imagine it here, and think about how much fuel line you need before you cut it. As we always say, you can cut some off, but you can't cut some on. Okay, that should do it. Now we're going to guesstimate what it'll take to put it on the bottom of the tank here. You don't want it to be too long, you don't want it to be too short. On this one, that should do it. Strap a brand new fuel filter. And toss that in. And you'll look at it before you go any farther. Make sure she's laying on the bottom of the tank, right where you want it. She can pull some. Yeah, that looks really good. It's laying on the very, very bottom here. That looks pretty good. We can pull up just a tiny bit of slack. We'll cut our taper off now. And we'll repeat for the other one. The other one's a little farther back. Sometimes that makes it harder. Sometimes it really doesn't matter. And this time it doesn't really matter. Okay, we'll put a new taper on it. There you go. Now I can see it sticking through the other side. Since this is a little harder to access, we're going to grab it before we pull too hard. And there you go. On this one, let's pull a little bit back. I'm pulling it back as far as we can because this is going to be the return line. And it just has to be inside the tank and nothing else. There you go. And that'll probably reach fine. Yeah, it will. Okay, let's go ahead and get our carburetor in place. And we'll put our fuel lines on now, even though we might change our mind later and take them back off. If you're doing this, you don't really want to be in a hurry. You know, pick a time when you've got a few minutes to play with. Because it's not always as easy as this. Remember, I've done 2 or 3 of these. I've taken a lot of carburetors off, rebuilt a lot, replaced a lot. So I've had a little practice. And our fuel line's on. Now push this over the top. Make sure that our cable lines up. Our trigger works correctly. Up, 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 up. Now you see, even though I've done a lot of these, I almost missed something important. The gasket. I don't see a gasket on the old one. Okay, this is the gasket for it. So that works. You can see we've got our little pressure port hole here. And that lines up with this one. So we're in a good place. So let's accelerate. Put our cable back on. Our accelerator cable. There we go. And push it all back in place. Make sure everything's lined up and looks good, and it does. Just like we did when we took it off, we're going to put this in the middle. And line it all up, and it'll push it over there. Put our nuts back on, fill it up with gas, and this should be good to go. Now, if you've got the straight shaft or the curved shaft version of this, it's going to be the same exact thing. It's the same job. Put a new air filter on, put our box lid back on, and we're ready to go test it. It's just that easy. If you were to take one of these to the shop, it would cost more than it was worth to get all this done. And you can do this yourself at home for about 15 bucks. Now, if you get this far and then prime it up and no gas is coming up, you know, the gas isn't filling up the primer bulb and it's completely empty, that means you probably got the fuel lines backwards. Just take the air filter off and switch the fuel lines and you're good to go. So we've got her on full choke and she hasn't run for quite a while, so let's see what happens. That was promising. It sounds pretty good. Sounds like she needs a little bit of a tune-up. Let me grab a tool and we'll do that real quick. Tuning it up, the one closest to the engine is your low. That affects the idle only. So we'll tweak it around, slowly turn it. You heard the idle come up just a little bit. That sounds good. Now we'll go to the high side, which is the one farthest from the engine. There you go. Let me turn the... I turned off noise canceling so you can hear it. That sounds really good. Let's adjust the idle just a touch more. And you're really doing this by ear. And that sounds really nice now. Now, if you're doing yours at home and don't have any experience with small engines, replacing the carburetor is the easy way to go. A couple of videos back, I went ahead and rebuilt the carburetor. And so if you feel adventurous, you can try it. The worst thing that'll happen is you'll spend $6 or $7 on a carb kit and it doesn't work, and then you buy a carburetor. So this comes, you can buy these at Ace Hardware or Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, but they only come with kits. I order fuel line kits online. I'll order rolls. And then, of course, when you buy a roll, it comes with at least one or two of these. I've used the same one for many years. So if you get one, you've got a lifetime supply. So all you new people out there, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe. It's free and it's what we work for. So thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.